Hi folks, how you doing? It's been a bloody long time, hasn't it? It's James, JT at the movies, and I'm finally back with you to do a DVD, Blu-ray and 4K pickups video. Now, I can't quite remember the last time I did one of these, but I would imagine that it's pre-June. So let's just call this my summer haul, if you like, as we're getting to the last week of summer now, aren't we? And I'm going to show you everything that I've picked up since the last video, God knows when. And as always, we're going to dive right in with some DVDs. So in no particular order, I'll show you the first one. This is Flight of the Living Dead. So I actually picked this up when we were on holiday recently. I have no idea whether it's any good or not, but the premise and the fact that me and Laura love zombie movies was enough to sell me on it. Heard a lot of good things about this one, but I've never actually seen it. Again, picked it up in a charity shop while I was on holiday, and that is The Killing Fields. The next one that I picked up was purely based on the cast and the description, though I've yet to sit down and watch it. Another holiday pickup, and that is Darkness. This next one is a film that I've not seen for a very, very long time, and I'm really looking forward to rewatching. That is Merchant of Venice. I picked this one up on Phil's recommendation. He said that it was a really cheesy, just easy watching action film. And surprisingly, I didn't already have it in the collection despite thinking that I did. And that is SWAT. This next one I had a lot of fun with when I watched. This film's it's sort of an Indiana Jones-esque thriller. With Antonio Banderas, and the basic plot of it, without sort of going into too much detail, is that they find a tomb in Jerusalem and possibly think that it could be the tomb of Christ. And then obviously you can imagine the fallout that such a discovery in the modern world would have. And I thought that it was a really good little thriller, and maybe the execution of it wasn't perfect, but the concept was great. And it stars Antonio Banderas, and that is The Body. This next one's a rebuy. It's a cheesy little horror film, and I right enjoyed it. And then when I played my disc of it, probably about 6 months ago, I found that it skipped in the middle. So I came across this in a charity shop and thought that it'll do to replace mine. That's The Cavern. Picked this one up for Laura. She saw it and thought that it looked quite interesting, and the fact that it's got Carrie Elways and Michael Biehn in it was good enough for me. We've yet to sit down and watch it, and that is Psych 9. Next, we have The Proposition. I thought that I actually already had this one, and Laura did too for some reason, but we've been through the collection and couldn't find it. Another holiday pickup, The Relic. I'm a really big Tom Cruise fan, and I didn't have this next one. This is Ron Howard's Far and Away. Mia Farrow in See No Evil. Been looking forward to watching this one for a long time and finally decided to buy it on Amazon. Probably going to watch this one this week when me and Laura have a movie night, actually. It's a very recent pickup for me, is this one. It's Jamie Lee Curtis in Blue Steel. Got this in the HMV sale because surprisingly I didn't have it and really fancied watching it. And that is the original The Witches. This next one, again, it was the cast really and the premise that sold me. Laura Dern's in this, and I like Laura Dern in anything she turns up in. Obviously, my introduction to her was Jurassic Park, as I'm sure most people's was. But this is a film, Trial by Fire. I got Village of the Damned. I've not seen this one, but Joe Pesci sold me on it. I will watch anything with Joe Pesci, and that is 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag. I picked this one up, and I can't remember if I showed this one last time or not, so apologies if I did. I've not picked it up twice. But this is starring Jim Broadbent, and it is The Duke. And I'm really looking forward to watching this one. So this is obviously about the sort of the caper, if you like, of the theft of the portrait of the Duke of Wellington. And one of the reasons I'm excited to watch this is eagle-eyed Bond fans will remember that it's alleged that Dr. No stole it in that film, as this was happening around the time that film was being made, and it was just sort of like a nice little nod and a wink to cinema goers at the time. So I'd be curious to see if this film references that at all. This next one's not a great film, but it's one that I fancied revisiting. I've not seen it since I was a teenager, but Sandra Bullock is one of my favourite actresses of all time, and I'm not ashamed to say I do have a bit of a crush on her as well, so I'll happily watch anything that she's in. And this one is Murder by Numbers. I love my royal dramas and sort of fictitious depictions of the royal family, new and old, and I'm really looking forward to watching Mrs. Brown. For years, my granddad's been going on about this film, and he's said to me, James, you've got to pick this film. You've just got to pick this film up. And so I finally tracked both me and him a copy down, because he wanted a copy for his very, very humble movie collection. You should see his CD collection, though. His CD collection's something like this. But he never quite took off collecting movies, didn't Grandad? But I've picked up Michael Palin, Maggie Smith, and Denholm Elliott in A Private Function. So this is an Arrow Academy DVD release. I didn't know they did DVDs still. But yeah, it was great to obviously get a hold of this, and I'm going to watch it soon, probably with Grandad. In the HMV sale, I picked up this next one. I haven't seen it yet. I've not heard great things, but of course I'd like to make my own mind up about it. I enjoyed the original 3. The first was the best, but Matrix 4, we'll see. This is one I've not seen since it was on Sky Movies years ago, but I am interested in watching it again, and that is The Front Runner. Again, another HMV sale pickup. Another step further in completing my Liam Neeson direct-to-video movies, where he plays basically the Taken guy in all the films, but it's a slightly different thing. I love Liam Neeson, but can we just acknowledge that he's kind of becoming like Steven Seagal or Jean-Claude Van Damme or something, isn't he? He's sort of just, same character in every film with a slightly different name and a slightly different background, but the stakes are always the same. So I'm sure I could probably predict the plot of this one without even watching it. But it's Liam Neeson in the Sky original, Blacklight. Operation Mincemeat. Again, looking forward to watching this. The cast and the premise is what sold me. Picked this one up after his passing. It's Ray Liotta in Unlawful Entry. This was one that I enjoyed, but it could have been so much more, and I was sort of felt a little underwhelmed really with the ending of it. I bought this film. Folks who know me know I love a good legal thriller and a good courtroom drama at that. And I was doing a bit of reading, as I do on courtroom drama movies and ones you might not have seen and things like that, because like most of us movie fans in this community, you sort of get to a point where you've seen all the big hitters, don't you? And you sort of, oh, I right, fancy something in that genre, but is there something that, I've not seen before to scratch the itch? Anyway, I went down a bit of an internet rabbit hole and ended up hearing about, I'll leave it in for you folks, a civil action. And it's a great cast, and it's a really interesting premise. It's not a criminal sort of case. It's, as it says, a civil case. And the film, like I say, it could have been so much more. The cast were really great in it, and the story was compelling, but it just could have been that little bit more. This next one's an import, and I picked this up because I heard some really great things about it from some friends, and I went to try and find it. There isn't a UK version readily available, if at all, but there is this European import, and it is Pacific Heights with Michael Keaton. Again, apologies if I've shown you this next one. I'm really not too sure if I have or not, but I thought I'd best include it just in case I haven't, and that is The Card Counter. Paris, Texas. Now, folks who've been around in the YouTube movie community, or, at least watching the community for probably the best part of a decade now, probably remember a chap, I think his name was, he was certainly called James, I think his surname might have been Merchant, and Dan over at Dan's Movie Cave used to collaborate with him quite a bit back in the day, and he used to talk about this film, Paris, Texas, quite a lot on his channel, and I've been meaning to pick it up ever since then. And it was only when I was in FOP down in London over the summer that I thought, do you know what, we'll finally get to that, and we'll get it picked up. This next one I picked up just last week, and I'm really looking forward to watching it. It's Men. I picked this one up as a bit of an upgrade for my Nicolas Cage collection. I did actually have this one, but believe it or not, it was on a DVD, one of those where you used to get them out of the newspaper in a little cardboard sleeve. In fact, I'll show you the thing first. It's Honeymoon in Vegas. And I've popped in there, along with the DVD that came with it, the the one that came free in the paper as well, so I've got both copies in there. The premise sold me on this one. I'm not expecting it to be anything fantastic, and that's Roadkill. Heard a lot of good things about this one, have yet to see it. Swim fan. Bit of TV now. I'm a big fan of the original series, and the original 5 movies in these series that sort of ran as contemporaries to the James Bond films were films that I really enjoyed in my teenage years after being introduced to them. And I'm really keen to see the remake of the Ipcress File. Revisiting my childhood a bit with this one, and it's Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. I absolutely love this film. I don't care if it's a kids' movie or not, it's superb. Not seen this one yet, and I picked it up, actually, funnily enough, I picked this up the day that my band played a gig in HMV, which if you want to see, I'll leave a link somewhere down below, and if I can put something above, I will do as well. But my band, Leaving Overmorrow, were invited to play the opening of a new HMV opening up in Wakefield near me, which was brilliant. And there's going to be probably some more news to come on that, as we're going to have some further appearances in that HMV and another local HMV as well. And they might also be stocking the band's album when it comes out. So there's hopefully going to be some news coming on that there for you. But you heard it here first, folks. But I picked this up the same day we played there, and that is Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. I enjoyed the first one, was a bit on the second one, having watched it quite recently. But I've heard that one sort of meets them in the middle somewhere. So we'll find out, I guess. This next one was an import, but at some point over Christmas and New Year, me and Laura are hoping that we'll do a movie marathon, as we try and do every Christmas, New Year season. And this year we've said that we want to do the films of Alfred Hitchcock and James Stewart. Obviously they've crossed over a lot, but we can enjoy, you know, films from both men's sort of back catalogues, if you like, even if they aren't ones that they've collaborated on. But that's going to be the common theme. Anyway, this is a film starring Sean Connery and Tippi Hedren. It's Alfred Hitchcock's Marnie. So this is, I think, a Spanish import, if I'm not mistaken, because it's not easy to get a hold of it on DVD here. Now, I can quite easily get it on 4K, but I have to buy the Alfred Hitchcock Collection Volume 2, that's about £100. And for one film, when I've got the rest of the films in that collection on DVD and Blu-ray and whatever, I'm just not prepared to spend that sort of money. But the DVD was, I think, about £8 to import, so that made sense to me. And like I say, it'll be probably Christmas time when we watch that, but I'm looking forward to it. This next one I've heard a few folk talk about and picked it up, and again we'll be getting to watching it soon, and that is The Burning Sea. The next one is Halloween Kills. So I picked this up because I didn't see it in the cinemas, and I haven't seen it full stop. But obviously the last of this trilogy is coming out really soon, and I really would like to see it, so I best play catch up with that. The DVD was really cheap there. I have got the first of the rebooted trilogy on Blu-ray, but I was happy enough just to pick that up on DVD. This next one is Do the Right Thing. I got this in the HMV sale. Folks, I lied. There's some more DVDs to show you. I'm not going to show you all of them. I'll just show you this one. I got the entire collection of The West Wing on DVD at £1 per season, which is great. So they're all these different editions of the various seasons. They're all just down here, but I'll save you the trouble of showing you them all. But yeah, for £7 I got the 7 seasons of The West Wing. What an absolute steal. It's not a show that I've seen too much of. I've seen odds and ends and little snippets of it. And really my two good mates, Ruben and Phil, have been sort of on a bit of a binge of it. And their passion for it's really shone through. And I'm a really big fan of Aaron Sorkin, the writer, and obviously, you know, his work on A Few Good Men, Social Network to name, but a couple have always really grabbed me. And he's heavily involved in the writing and the production of that show. And so when I saw them in a charity shop at £1 a season, I thought, well, there's no way I'm leaving those there. So there we are, folks. That is the last of the DVDs, I promise. So first, to show you for some Blu-rays, I'll show you some Spanish imports first. Another one for mine and Laura's Hitchcock Marathon, and this is Foreign Correspondent. So there's a Criterion of this, but it's an American-only one. I don't actually have a region-free Blu-ray player at the moment. I'm thinking about getting one, but then, you know, it's a slippery slope to going down getting imports left and right, isn't there? And yeah, I don't know. That's maybe a discussion for another video, but I got this for £15 on Amazon. This is another one that I think most people picked up in the community, or certainly a lot of us did. And this can only be an upgrade from the god-awful DVD that we've got with the sort of panned 4:3 thing going on, a bit like the Abyss DVD, really. And that is Ray Liotta and Lauren Holly in Turbulence. Really enjoyed that film. It's Die Hard on a plane, isn't it? But yeah, I really enjoyed it. This one's another one that this one, like the last one, could be I think it's one of these sort of what they call them grey releases, isn't it? Where the sort of semi-official, or however it works. There are better read people on it than me, and you can find videos on YouTube for it. I'm not going to try and sort of explain it, but I believe that this is one of those types of releases. Again, from Amazon Spain. It is Below. Now, me and Laura watched this the other week. We had a bit of a movie day, and this was one of the ones that went on. Again, a bit like that film The Body, when we actually watched it the same day. A really good concept, but maybe the execution wasn't 100%. But I enjoyed it, and I'd probably watch it again, so there we are. I've recently been working towards completing my my Wes Anderson collection, and when one more film arrives the day after tomorrow, as of shooting this, I'll have all his films to date, and I've got a couple more to show you in this update here. But the first one is Isle of Dogs. This next one is an Italian import, and I'm going to be watching this film probably after shooting this video. It came over the weekend, and that is Jurassic World Dominion. So you're probably wondering, well, James, why didn't you just wait for the UK one that comes out in a couple of weeks? Well, I actually ordered this a couple of weeks ago, and at the time of ordering, Amazon was saying that the other one was coming out at Christmas, and I thought, well, I don't really want to wait that long for it. So I decided that I'd import it, seeing as it was the same price, and I've got Amazon Prime and whatever else. So it made sense to me at the time anyway. This next one, I have a good reason for not having watched it. I lent it to my sister, and she's not got round to watching it, but she's going to be travelling abroad for some time now. So she's given it back to me, and I will be getting this one on very soon, because again, it has the lovely Sandra Bullock in it, and that is The Lost City. Looking forward to watching this one. I've heard a lot of good things about it, though I don't really know much about the premise, but it's X. An upgrade for me here, the next couple are actually. This was in HMV sale, reduced to £3.49 with the nice slipcover as well. I only watched it for the first time last year, which I'm ashamed to say, but I really, really enjoyed it. And my DVD wasn't the clearest picture, you know, it was a bit grainy in parts, and, you know, for obviously a film that, you know, relies heavily on special effects and some sort of wow shots, you really need to be watching it in HD. So it made sense to upgrade Apollo 13. Another upgrade, as I said, with this one, it just made sense to pick up for, I think it was £1 in a charity shop, Inglourious Bastards. The next one to show you is yet another upgrade. This was in the, you know, the bit of HMV's tills where they're sort of like, oh, because you're buying this, do you want this for like $2.99 or whatever? And I thought, well, you know, this one was $4.99 actually, but it's The Terminator. Another charity shop find, a film that I've not actually seen, but I've heard a few people say that it's worth a watch, and that is Everest. Another upgrade. This is a film that I loved from childhood and probably come back to once every 18 months, 2 years or so. And it was in the HMV sale. I have actually rewatched this one quite recently, and that is Men in Black. A very recent upgrade for me with this one. I saw it and thought, I can't leave it there. It is the 2002 Scooby-Doo live-action movie. I picked this up from Trade Me in Leeds, which is a great little shop. Works a bit like CEX, and they always beat CEX's prices, so get yourself in there and have a look if you're around the Leeds area. This is not an endorsement, by the way. I just really wanted to champion them because I found some great stuff in there over the years. This next one I picked up right at the start of the summer, to be fair, and I've just not got round to watching it. It is Jason Statham in Guy Ritchie's Wrath of Man. So again, apologies if there's a couple in this stack that I possibly might have shown you before, but I'll be right honest, my sort of cataloguing has gone a bit awry with having such a busy summer. So apologies, like I say, if you've seen them. But the next one to show you is one I know I've not shown you, and that is Manhunter. This next film was absolutely just superb, and an absolute lunacy at the same time. A very, do they call it meta? I think this would sort of count as being a meta film. Nicolas Cage plays himself in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And if you haven't seen this film and you like a good comedy action film, I implore you to go and watch it. Such a good time. The next one to show you is a kids film that I quite enjoyed, and I've not seen it probably since it came out on Sky Movies for a premiere, whenever that was. But I found a German import in a charity shop for £1 and thought, well, why not? That's Monsters and Aliens. I picked this one up again in HMV the day we did that gig, and it is extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile, the Ted Bundy movie. I had to read that then to make sure I got all the words in the right order, otherwise I'd have given you, you know, any sort of variation there of the title. Picked this one up in the HMV sale, and it is Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons, the movie. The DC animated stuff, isn't it fantastic? I wish DC, whoever's in charge of their animated stuff, let them guys go and do the live action stuff, because the live action stuff is garbage for the most part. You know, there's the odd exception, the Batman, and, you know, Shazam was pretty good, but for the most part, they're tosh, aren't they? But the DC ones, the animated ones, they knock them out of the park. So just get whoever's doing that to go and run the show. Seriously, what's gone on with that? The whole, you know, right? Well, we're going to write off Batgirl for a tax break sort of thing. Poor Brendan Fraser and Leslie Grace and, you know, Michael Keaton, J.K. Simmons, the whole cast and crew. Yeah, it's baffling what's going on over there at DC at the moment. Off topic there, wasn't it? But the next one to show you is another one of these sort of Warner Brothers iconic ones with the nice slipcovers, and it's Bonnie and Clyde. This is one of the ones I might have shown you last month, and apologies if I did, but it's Michael Bay's Ambulance. Bird on a Wire. This film got a lot of flack, and even in my sort of immediate friend group as well, we were all divided on it. But I really enjoyed it. Yes, it could have been more, and I think really being a multiverse film as the follow-up to the Spider-Man multiverse film that we got last Christmas, it was always going to be a tough act to follow. And I also think the fact that Sam Raimi directed Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness would be quite polarising as well. For me, this film did a Marvel thing, but it was also a love letter to the Evil Dead. Now, I absolutely adored that and had an absolute whale of a time with it. The lads, Phil and Ruben, that I went to see the film with, both came out of it. Neither of them particularly like horror. Neither of them like the Evil Dead or Sam Raimi's work, say, outside of Spider-Man. And neither of them rated this, and we had quite a heated debate about it. And I was like, no, but guys, you know, got to come at it from this angle. And they're like, no, it was shit, it was shit. And I've spoken to quite a few people that are, you know, mixed on it, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I will say that I thought the Illuminati cameos were great, if a little bit underused, and perhaps that should have been the third act of the film rather than the third act that we'd got. And if there was some way to swap the two round, I think maybe it would have, you know, sort of, if the mid-film battle had been the end battle and vice versa, I think that would have been, that might have made it play better to the fans anyway. Just my 2 cents anyway. Another upgrade for me. I will be keeping my DVD of this, because I don't know whether this is just the case with every version of The Rock on DVD. But the DVD that I've got is just the standard cover art like this, and, you know, looks exactly the same, except this is a Blu-ray. But the discs say Criterion Collection on them, and when I put the menu in, it says it's the Criterion Collection edition. So I don't know whether they just produced the same discs and did whatever else, but the transfer still looks great as well. Not as good as I imagine the Blu-ray is going to look, but for a DVD it looks great, so I will keep hold of it. But I fancied upgrading it. No real rhyme or reason, other than it's one of my favourite films. One of the films that I really enjoyed seeing in the cinemas this year, and was a bit of a surprise hit for me, because I really didn't think that they'd sort of you know, strike gold twice with it, because I thought the first one was really good, was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I was expecting this to be sort of, you know, sort of relying too heavily on the silliness and not having enough story and heart to it. And no, it worked. It really worked. And I went with Laura, I went with my sister Soph, and we had a really great time watching it. And I think it holds up to the first one. And if they make a third, I'll look forward to watching it. Another DC animated one now, and that is Green Lantern, Beware My Power. Jon Stewart is a great DC Green Lantern. I always loved him in the Justice League cartoons growing up. That was my introduction to the character. And then I've since read a few comics on him as well. And obviously, most Green Lantern media usually goes for, oh goodness me, what's he called now? I've forgotten the guy's name anyway, but it's normally not this one, is it? It's not Hal Jordan. There we go. They normally go for the Hal Jordan iteration of it, don't they? And obviously we got that god awful Ryan Reynolds film about a decade ago. But it's really nice to see the Jon Stewart version getting some love again. This next one's an import. I got this. It's not actually readily available on Blu-ray here in the UK, which I thought it was. But when me and Laura had the movie weekend a couple of weekends ago, where we watched The Body and Below and whatever else, we watched Jackie Chan's First Strike. Now, the DVD, again, is one of those where it's sort of boxed in the middle and just really looks crap. So I was straight on Amazon, been like, nope, not having that. Especially, as well, I learned that this is actually Police Story 4. But they released it internationally with the title First Strike, but it's Police Story 4, and he's playing the same character in those movies, and the character of Uncle Bill, the police commissioner, is again the same character. And I just thought that was an interesting little bit of trivia, really. I didn't know that until quite recently. And obviously Police Story 3 is coming out on Eureka very, very soon. I've got that on pre-order, so I can't wait for that to come. And so I thought, yeah, well, might as well have that on Blu-ray as well. The last two standard Blu-rays to show you before I show you some special editions. I'll show you this one first. It is another one from Trade Me In, and it is Jumanji 3. I watched this one on Netflix or Prime or wherever it was recently and quite enjoyed it. And when I was in there, I saw that it was cheap and cheerful. And when I go in, I like to support them and pick something up. So I picked this one up. This last one to show you is a very recent pickup. It's come through just in the last week. Now, it's not available on Blu-ray here in the UK. It is available on Disney+, but like most of you watching, I'm sure you're like me and you prefer to have a physical copy on your shelf. The Americans got a region-free Blu-ray, so I imported The French Dispatch. And that's another one going towards completing my my Wes Anderson collection. I nearly said Wes Craven then, and I thought, well, I'll just let you in on that little random tidbit that makes no bearing on the video whatsoever. So, what have I got to show you next then? I've got to show you some special editions and then a handful of 4Ks that I've picked up. So the first special edition that I'll show you is one that's now out of print, and the company were very nice to let us know that it was going out of print and that they had, I don't know, a couple of 100 copies left in stock, and so if anybody wanted them, go and get one quick. And so I decided that I would upgrade my DVD of Ron Howard's Cocoon. I love this film. This is such a heartwarming, feel-good 80s sci-fi film, and it's, as my mate Phil says, this is the sort of film that you can watch, to my mind anyway, on a rainy afternoon where you're not feeling that great and you just want to curl up in your duvet and just enjoy a nice film. And for me, this is one of those films. This next one, another Nick Cage one to show you. I'm really, really happy that this film has got a Blu-ray release that's worth having. It's the Plan B release of Red Rock West. So this film was one of the first Nick Cage films I sort of remember really seeing and really thinking, do you know what? I really rate what this guy's doing and I want to see more of what's going on. And yeah, this performance was one of the ones that sort of turned me on to being one of my favourite actors. I've had the DVD for years and I'm just really thrilled to have this. This came through last week. I'll be watching this very soon. I picked this one up for Laura, really, and it's a film that I'm hoping to share with her really soon. It's called The Thief of Baghdad. Now, a bit of background, really. Laura's grandma, who's sadly no longer with us, we lost her a couple of years ago, used to watch this film with Laura and her brother and her cousins when they were younger, and Laura's not seen it in the longest time, nor has she been able to find a copy of it. And I found this in the network section in HMV and showed it to her and went, look, and you know, this is what I found, sort of thing. And she was, oh, it'd be great. And so when the time's right, when she's feeling up to it, we're going to sit down, we're going to watch this film together, and I'm hopefully going to sort of share in that memory with her. And I'm really looking forward to what I think will be a really special moment there. I picked this one up in an HMV sale, and really it was the cast that sold me on it. It's Robert De Niro, Wesley Snipes in The Fan. Over the summer, well, again, when we had that movie day, funnily enough, that movie weekend as it ended up being, I revisited the original Candyman. Laura had never seen it, but we'd both seen the Nia DaCosta Jordan Peele remake, legacy sequel, whatever you want to call it, that came out this year, which was great. She's like, I've never seen the original. I'd love to see sort of where it came from and whatever else. And I'll be honest, I never rated the original sort of growing up. I bought the DVD, watched it, and, watched it a couple of times, to be fair, and just thought, this isn't for me. And anyway, I watched it again with Laura, and I don't know whether it was just the setting and enjoying the company and being all nice and relaxed, but I bloody loved it. Absolutely had a great time with it. And thought to myself, do you know what? I really want to go and see, even though they're probably sort of written out of canon now with the new one, I want to see the sequel. So I picked up the second one. I believe it's the second one anyway, correct me if I'm wrong, and that's Candyman Farewell to the Flesh. So this is an 88 films release, whereas the first one's out on Arrow, and then the third one I don't even think has a Blu-ray release over here. So when I've watched that one, I'll track down the third one, and I think Germany has it. So we'll end up finding it from somewhere anyway. I picked this one up because it's got Michael Caine in it, and I'm on a bit of a Michael Caine kick at the moment, and that is Deadfall. I picked this one up purely for the cast. It looks like it's going to be a fun, silly little 80s comedy thriller type thing, and that is Once Upon a Crime. Laura bought me this one, and I'm very grateful to her. I actually have it on DVD imported from somewhere in Eastern Europe where it was available. Couldn't tell you which country, I'm afraid, but I think it'll be really nice to replace that in my collection with this premium collection edition, and that is The Two Jakes, the sequel to Chinatown. I popped this one in here because it came in a really nice case. I suppose technically it's a standard edition Blu-ray rather than a sort of, a quote-unquote boutique one. But the casing, the fact that it's come with art cards and a little book, I just thought I'll show you in this section. And that is Licorice Pizza. I actually got this for my birthday, which was June 8th. So, that's how long probably it is since I've done one of these videos. I picked this one up again for the cast, and the premise again sold me on it. It's Kevin Bacon and Gary Oldman, quite early on in their careers by the look of them on the art, in criminal law. And then a couple of Arrow titles here to show you. This one's from CEX, and it is Obsession. And then we have The Mangler. I picked up the Blu-ray, but not the 4K, because I wasn't too bothered about having the 4K of this. But the recent Blu-ray restoration of Dog Soldiers from Second Sight. I'm really looking forward to revisiting this one. In fact, just recently, it's just behind me. I can't reach it to show you, but I've just taken the DVD out of the collection in readiness for putting this one in its place. This next one, before I show you the final ones that I've got to show you in this very, very long collection update, and brilliant stuff if you're still here, folks. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe so we can have a nice long chat like this again. Folks who know me on this channel know I am a Bond nut. I came across this in Trade Me In and thought, well, I've got to get it. There's just no way I can leave it behind, and that is the Steelbook Blu-ray of GoldenEye. Just look at that, it's great. And then slide the card down. I don't know if you can tell, but this is embossed and debossed at the same time. Sort of, it's got ridges around it and whatnot, and then there's the back as well. It's the same Blu-ray that comes with the the Bond 50 set that I've got, or the individual release, and then there's some inside art there as well. But being the avid Bond collector that I am, I couldn't not pick that up. I think it was £7.50, and yeah, it was coming home with me. The next ones to show you are 3 Criterion Collection releases. The first one I picked up for £9.50, again in Trade Me In, and it is an upgrade for me because I thought, well, for the price, I'm going to get it because I'm planning on doing on the channel. I'll talk about it more in my my channel update video, but I'm planning on doing a series where I do maybe a couple of 3 videos going through Wes Anderson's filmography. I've seen a couple of his films, but I've really sort of gained a bit of an interest recently in it, and I fancy doing a bit of a deep dive and think it might be an interesting topic to discuss with you guys. But I picked up the Royal Tenenbaums on Criterion. And then in the very, very recent Criterion sale, I also picked up the Darjeeling Limited and an upgrade of The Life Aquatic as well. So really happy to have those in my collection. The last one that I needed that I mentioned earlier is Rushmore, which is coming from online because they didn't have it in store, and I should be getting that, like I said, I think the day after tomorrow as of the day of filming. So before I show you my 4Ks, in fact, no, actually, I'm going to show you the 4Ks now because the thing I was just going to show you is the best thing in this haul. So I'm going to absolutely leave that until last for you. So the first thing I want to show you is another special edition from 88 Films, but it is the UHD, the 4K of Drive. The premise of this film absolutely sold me. I'm really looking forward to watching this. Just picked it up last week, and the chap in HMV that's always in on a Wednesday lunchtime when I go there and serve me, we got nattering about it. He's like, oh, you'll love this, and it absolutely sold me on it. So I picked that up, and I'm looking forward to watching it soon. The next three I'll sort of show in bulk, really. They are the Zavvi. I don't think they're Zavvi exclusives, actually. I think you've been able to get them at HMV and other places as well. But I got these from Zavvi. They are the Indiana Jones steelbooks that have been released so far. As of time of filming this, Crystal Skull's due to be released the coming Monday. So I'll have that for the next update for you. And then we only have to wait until at some point next summer for Indy 5, don't we? Which is just so cool. But I'm going to show these off. So we got Raiders of the Lost Ark, and do you know what I bloody love about this? This is the first time that I can think of where they've not called it Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm sure we all have some pet peeves with films, and this is one of mine. This film is not called Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's called Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I just love the fact that they've given it its proper title on the discs, on the artwork, and just what a great looking steelbook it is. And we then have Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom I was going to show you, Last Crusade. Then in fact, I'll show you both of them. There we go, put my face in between them. This is my favourite film of all time, so I'm absolutely over the moon to have this one. And the fact that it's the poster art as well is great. I really, really like this one. This has always been a bit of a dark horse for me, as this one. It was always been my least favourite of the film. That doesn't mean to say I don't enjoy it, but on recent rewatches, I've found myself really sort of growing towards this one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it again in 4K. And for those who may be sort of eagle-eyed and have a really good memory on the channel, yes, I did get the 4K box set for my birthday, not this year, but last year. I'm still keeping that. It was a present from my mum and my sister, so there's no way I'd be getting rid of that. And it's not often that I would double dip on something like a steelbook, but if it's something like the James Bond films or Indy, you know, my favourite films, then do you know what? Why not? It's my hobby. I enjoy it, and you know what? Why not? Is I suppose my reasoning. But I probably don't need to explain myself really to the folks that are likely watching this video, do I? But there we are. So the last thing that I want to show you came in the post today, and my lovely, wonderful, gorgeous insert, you know, sort of positive adjective here, girlfriend Laura bought me this. I was having a really, really, really rough week with one thing and another, and she decided she wanted to do something to cheer me up, as she often does. And she got chatting with a friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, that owns a sort of comics and collectibles shop, a chap called Gareth, who runs a shop in Huddersfield called Diversions. I thoroughly recommend, if you're in the area, or if you want to go check out his website, you have a look. And so she quite often buys me little bits and bobs from there, pop figures, comics, whatever, you know, to, you know, just to be nice. Anyway, she bought this for me, and it's just absolutely amazing. So this is The Mummy, and you're wondering why it's in a protective box. I shall take it out and see if I can try and show you. If we bring that right to the camera there, and then if you just see here, just next to my finger, that's signed by Tom Cruise, which is just absolutely amazing. And it's verified, the signatures, and I've got a photograph of the friend of mine and Laura's friend that went to the Top Gun Maverick premiere, met Tom Cruise and got him to sign that. So jokes, I suppose it's a shame it's The Mummy. I'm joking, Laura. But no, how cool is that? So I do already have this film in my collection. But what I am going to be doing, obviously for the meantime, keeping it in the nice plastic box to keep it safe and make sure that it doesn't get damaged. But I'm going to find some sort of way to frame that and preserve it, because that's just really fucking cool, isn't it? Tom Cruise's autograph. You know, it's like being able to do like a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, my mate's mate, you know, just how cool. I don't know. There we go. That's yeah, just absolutely awesome. Sort of lost for words really when that rocked up. She's amazing as our lass, and I absolutely love her, and that's just such a generous gift, is that. Well, there we are, folks. That's been a bloody long one, hasn't it? And I do hope you've enjoyed it. It's everything that I've picked up over my my summer period of 2022, if you like. I'm going to do a video addressing, like I say, where I've been and my thoughts and, you know, what I want to do with the channel going forward. In fact, I'm going to shoot it straight after this, so it will be out in quick succession, or that video might come first and then you might see this. I guess we'll have to see, won't we, which way the cookie crumbles with it. But thank you so much for watching, and if you've made it this far, you're an absolute trooper. Please leave your comments down below. Say hello. Let's have a catch up, because it's been an age, hasn't it? Don't forget to leave the video a thumbs up. Lets me and YouTube know that you like the videos that I'm making, which is obviously really good feedback to know. If you are new here and by some chance you've made it this far into the video, hello, thank you so much. Please think about hitting that subscribe button so that we can stay in contact for future videos. I'd love to keep you around, and of course it helps my channel to grow. It'd be really nice if by the end of this year I could get to 500 subscribers. That was my original goal when I sort of set this channel up, if you like, a couple of years ago, and I'm only, I think, 54 away from it as of time of recording. So if we could get there, that would be absolutely fantastic for me, of course. I hope that you're all doing well, and that you're taking care of yourselves, that you've all had great summers. I hope to be back a lot more frequently than I have been. Take care of yourselves, folks. I look forward to seeing you again really soon. Bye for now.